Would you like to die at the fault of a perfect stranger? Well, this is what would happen if you hang around secondhand smoke or someone who smokes in front of you in the house or in their car while you're in there. So in the 1970s, people started to not like public smoking and getting around secondhand smoke. So they formed a group, and this group was called the Group Against Smoking Pollution. They were mainly in California, and they were trying to seek legislation to get public smoking bans on all public places. Also, they were trying to protect non-smokers from health hazards that secondhand smoke can cause. They tried to pass a statewide law, and after 2 unsuccessful attempts, they changed their name in 1988 to Americans for Non-Smokers' Rights, and they gained more nationwide followers. They had 4,523 municipalities of law smoking restrictions in 41 states of the U.S. There was 100% no smoking in 41 states. That was crazy to them since they had been working towards this goal for so long. So also, the need for non-smoking restrictions is because 53,800 people die per year from secondhand smoke. One reason is SIDS, and that is sudden infant death syndrome, and it's mainly with infants, and it causes 2,300 deaths per year, mainly due to secondhand smoke in the home while an infant is living there. Inhaling all that smoke is so bad for their lungs, and they die in their crib while they're sleeping because of all this secondhand smoke and carcinogens that they are in front of and around. Also, lung cancer is a very predominant way to die from secondhand smoke. 3,000 deaths per year from secondhand smoke of lung cancer victims. Also, heart disease, there's 48,500 deaths per year because of secondhand smoke within the U.S. Also, the short bursts of exposure to secondhand smoke, not just living with it, but just tiny bursts like when you're out in public with a secondhand smoke around like a bowling alley or a bar, this can cause lining of blood vessels to burst, and it can lead to the heart attack and stroke, even if you're just around it for 10 minutes. Also, there's carcinogens in the air while you're around secondhand smoke. If you are around a person smoking at a bar or in a movie theater, which doesn't really happen in the U.S. anymore because of the 41 public smoking bans in the U.S., in the states. So carcinogens can cause lung cancer, and they are chemicals that emit from smoking. And children, the short bursts of exposure leads to acute and chronic diseases. Also, this can be very bad for a child who is trapped in a car with a mom or dad that smokes with the windows up, or living in a home with a parent that smokes can really cause permanent damage to their lungs or even sudden infant death syndrome. So to satisfy this need, we need to make businesses smoke-free, all businesses and all public places. So some businesses might be afraid to ban smoking, but there's no strong evidence that going smoke-free is bad for business. The Surgeon General had said that smoke-free workplace policies are the only way to prevent secondhand smoke exposure at work. Separating smokers from non-smokers, cleaning the air, and ventilating the building cannot prevent exposure if people still smoke inside the building. An extra bonus of workplace smoking restrictions, other than protecting non-smokers, is that they may also encourage smokers to smoke less or even to quit. So this is a way that the Surgeon General is trying to say that smoking in a building, even with air filters and cleaning and all that, cleaning the air, there is still secondhand smoker exposure to all the other people who aren't smoking in the building. So we need to ban smoking in public places and get all of the U.S. on board, not just 41 states. To visualize what will happen, there are many, many effects that this can cause. Less cancer in Americans, less disease, less rate of sudden infant death syndrome, It can lower the chances of heart disease in Americans, and people will actually start to quit smoking because there's nowhere convenient for them to smoke. So the action, we can support Americans for Non-Smokers' Rights, the group that was formed in 1988. And if you are a smoker, you can make sure, one, the house and car are smoke-free. You can smoke outside at all times. And don't smoke around infants or children, especially if they are in a confined space. Another thing I thought was interesting was that there's actually a study called third-hand smoke, and some studies suggest that particles from this kind of smoke can last for months. Even though it's no longer in the form of smoke, researchers call this third-hand smoke or residual tobacco smoke. They are particles that settle out from tobacco smoke that have been shown to combine with gases in the air to form cancer-causing compounds or carcinogens that settle into surfaces. For instance, NNK and PHHs, carcinogens that are known to cause lung cancer, have been found in dust samples taken from the homes of smokers. Research has also shown that third-hand smoke can damage human DNA in cell cultures and impact blood clotting in lab animals. And that quote was from American for Non-Smokers' Rights Pollution. So, all in all, the most impactful thing we can do as Americans is to support Americans for Non-Smokers' Rights. And if you're a smoker, again, make sure the house and car are smoke-free. Confined spaces, you don't want to smoke in confined spaces, you want to smoke outside at all times, and make sure you don't smoke around infants or children.